If you love city building games such as SimCity and games like 2048, then this game is a win-win for you. What's up fellow procrastinators, I'm Flamecom, and in this review I'll be drawing parallels with SimCity quite a bit. Made by Andrew Kuznetsov, this game is available on both iOS and Android's Google Play Store, and it's free, so who'd want for more? So unlike all the other 2048 clones, this one is unique in that it blends city building elements with the puzzle element that is 2048. So instead of the usual adding up of scores, it's actually population this time, which is a good attention to detail in terms of its city theme. So obviously, as you can see here, instead of numbered tiles, you get blocks of buildings, which is, I guess, kind of like those blocks of buildings that you see in SimCity. Well, to be honest, I'm more referring to SimCity 4. The floor looks like sticky palm cards, and I like that because, like, all this adds to the vibrant tone of the entire game. You know, it's bright, it's vivid, the artwork is great, the buildings look very nice, and I like that those sticky palm cards are uneven. This is just a bit of nitpicking, but in between two buildings, both of them with the orange roofs, it feels like they should be running to each other, and there's this one in between that just doesn't fit right. It's not a game breaker, but it's just little nitpicking annoyances. So just like the regular 2048 games, where you merge the same numbers, you merge the same buildings. So because the mechanics are still the same, it still has that trick where you quickly swipe back and forth to make a tile appear after you swipe. Those of you who didn't know that was a trick, now you know, and it actually is very helpful. As per usual, stick to the corners. That is the way to get to 2048 and 4096 and so on and so forth. So even though there are no numbers, you can still tell the what the number of the biggest building is by the level number. So say for example you have like a level 10. That's saying that it's 2 to the power of 10. So it's like level 1 is 2 to the power of 1, so it's 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, so on and so forth, until you get to, I don't know, is it like 2 to the power of 11? Actually, I'm gonna figure out, I'm gonna find that out real quick. Hold on. Right, 2 to the power of 11 is, 2048, yeah. What I like is that as you level up, you get bonuses, such as like reversing your moves, or getting a big building, or getting rid of small buildings, which does help, yes. In regards to the bonus which allows you to reverse your change, the most I've been able to rack up is 2.
Okay, never mind. Whilst I was editing this video, I managed to rack up 3. See, the cards is blocking again. And now I've got 4. I keep going back and forth, don't I?
Yes, there's actually a limit to how many reverses you can make. After you use it, you can still keep using it over and over again, but then after you've spent the maximum amount, you have to wait 60 seconds or a minute, which isn't the end of the world, but that's a long time. And a lot of other clones, they allow you to do it for an unlimited amount of times, without having to wait, of course. And no, you can't just get out of the app and do something else and come back later, because the timer will reset, which sucks. In addition, with the one that adds a big building, sure, it helps. I've only used it once, but it didn't land where I needed it to. So I'm the kind of player that always sticks to the bottom left of the screen. But then when I used that bonus, the one that added a big building, it added to the bottom right, and then I needed to rack up the buildings in between so that I could add in the bonus one, which is doable, but risky. The thing is, you don't get that bonus until you've already got another big building that's even higher and that you've already accumulated in a corner somewhere. When you use that bonus, it just adds to a corner that you don't want it to. I guess like a good tip would be that if you've got a big building in a corner and you've got the bonus, wait until like it's clear so that you can add the big building next to it. So it's pretty satisfying to see the buildings merge. As I said, the artwork looks nice, and you know, when they merge, they spring up in a sort of cartoony style. There's also like an applause whenever you get to a new level, and that has a nice charm, you know. Speaking of nice charms, there's also like a nice environmental ambience with you know, like quiet breeze, and there's also, I believe, car sounds as well.
I like how the scores, they float up like that whenever you merge buildings.
As I said, there's the applause whenever you merge new buildings and make a new level. And clouds pass overhead when you're idle. A little bit of downside is that if you leave your phone down, like, and you want to come back to it later, those clouds could block some of your tiles, and sometimes you need to be able to plan your next move, you know. As an added bonus, planes fly overhead to indicate that your city's growing. Unfortunately, you can't really do anything with those planes. Like, if you tap on them, nothing happens. They're just there for show. It would be nice if rewards, like hidden rewards, were added, such as tapping on planes or doing any other, like, secret actions, because the novelty of it being a city builder starts to wear off, and then it just becomes another 2048 game. But not entirely. So what do I mean by that? Well, I mean, a lot of times, I find myself doing this. This is angled at 45 degrees, just like SimCity 4. It's angled so that you can see the buildings, which makes sense, yes, because it's a city building game. But because of this angling, it is a bit tedious. It's tedious because I can't go up, down, left, right across the screen, just like a regular 2048 games. And a lot of pro players, if there's like a dedicated like community of pro players of 2048, they would rather be able to go straight up, down, left, right, instead of going diagonally across the screen. For example, it's a bit harder to do the quick swipe that I mentioned earlier, you know. It is still doable, like the tile will still appear after you swipe, but then when you have to do it diagonally, it just doesn't feel natural because I hold my phone, you know, upright, you know, as most people would, so it's kind of, it is kind of inconvenient to go diagonally across the screen when you're going like that. So yes, the key problem is that its own novelty is its own downfall. You will find yourself swiping in the wrong direction just because it's angled, and you would have to use that reverse bonus. And it'll feel like it's being wasted. You might have to wait 60 seconds again if you made multiple mistakes, as I said. Overall, this game is still pretty good, despite it being angled at 45 degrees, making you have to swipe diagonally. It has nice power-ups, I guess you could call them. As I said, I do have a bit of gripe with the reverse bonus. If you play really well, then you shouldn't need to use it at all. As I said, it has charming graphics. I like the buildings, I like the sticky palm cards, how they are uneven. I would like to hear some music, that would be nice, instead of just, you know, city sounds. Yeah, I like its simplistic nature, and credits to the creator Andrew for not overcomplicating things like, you know, adding actual city building elements as seen in SimCity. See, I said I was gonna reference SimCity a lot. Like, you know, you don't have to set taxes or, you know, manage areas. You just play it like 204 and see the city grow. Ultimately, this is, at its core, a puzzle game, but with a unique city building theme added to it. So, hats off to Andrew for that. And plus, it's free. So go grab it. Thanks for watching, and keep on procrastinating, people.